Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever it is. You want to come up here, Mick? I don't mind. So I just want to welcome everybody to Women's Basketball Media Day. In some ways it's hard to believe, and that it's here, and in other ways, we're rolling up our sleeves and been at it for a while. So we're thrilled about our program, certainly, and the success of the program, but every year is a new year, and you start over, and but you do have to kind of look back to figure out what we're going to do in the future. And for us to return almost 60% of our scoring offense is a positive thing. To return a really classy, hardworking group of seniors is equally refreshing, I think, as a coach. As your seniors go, so go your team. And so we're excited about Jasmine Hines, and certainly excited about Becca Mills as well. And then I would put Madison Williams in there too. Maybe she can't contribute in points and rebounds at times, but has been extremely significant for us. Mo, you're timing me, aren't you? On my opening statement. This is a long one for me. But I would also like to say that I am excited about our incoming freshmen. I think they're going to be impactful. I think they're going to play a lot of minutes early. That can be good, that can be bad. For us, 2 freshmen led us to a Big Ten championship last year, so it hasn't actually been a bad thing here at Michigan State in Tori and Ariel. So, we've really been pleased with our freshman class as well. So with that extremely long opening statement for me, I will take some questions.
Yeah, Suzy?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Midnight Madness. Were you trying to be Beyonce or Barbarella?
Someone who I won't comment actually texted me and called me Beyonce, non being capitalized, and I agree with that. But when I saw Izzo in 8-inch platform shoes, I felt like I had to throw it out there too. So I am glad that minute and 23 seconds of my life is completely over and in the past. Although not on YouTube, I suppose, right? Unfortunately.
With Brandi being lost for the season, right? With the ACL or no?
Well, ACLs are 6-month deals, so that puts her in January. So, that's going to be interesting. She's had a couple setbacks. So, honestly, Mick, until we get to that point, it does make it really difficult to make that decision right now.
So which freshmen are going to have to step up and take her place?
Well, I think from a guard perspective, Jasmine Lumpkin has been performing extremely well. And Lexi Gusser from the UP, the Miss Basketball in the state of Michigan, both those kids have been in the guard position, have really stepped in, done some amazing things in practice. I think as freshmen, as always, you have to work really hard to get ready for the mental transitions and the pace of the game. Doesn't matter how athletic you are or vice versa, the mental transitions and the pace and knowing the system and knowing where to be all the time. When you think the game, usually you can be a little bit slower in reacting. And so for them, it's just about getting lots of reps. And fortunately for us, they're high IQ kids and have gotten a lot of reps in practice. So they're getting better and better every single day. But those 2 kids will step up and maybe together combined, because Brandi honestly was one of our best players down the stretch in the postseason last year and was having an amazing summer, just really taking off. So it is disappointing she's not going to be with us from the beginning of the year on, and we'll have to wait and see in January.
Suzy, obviously, 2 Big Ten championships in the last 4 years. What's the next step for this program and the challenges to maybe getting to that step?
Well, it's always about the national scene, in women's basketball. I think for us, we want to keep pushing through and have an opportunity to play for a national championship. I'm no different than any coach that coaches at this level. We think about that all the time. I think maybe getting an opportunity to get back and host, I think that does help, obviously, in the first and second rounds. And we've done that in the past, and I know there's opportunity, hopefully, in the future to do that again with our fan base and Breslin, the success that we've had. So, for us, I think it is about having the opportunity to, 1, stay healthy all year and push through in the NCAA tournament and have an opportunity to play for a national championship.
Suzy, along with your players developing, you've always made it clear that you want to develop as a coach. Last summer, stating that you wanted to improve your offensive coaching abilities. Was there something this summer you looked at yourself wanting to improve?
Yeah, absolutely. Myself and Mark Simons got together and have really studied a couple different offenses, one in particular that we're excited about, and actually met with the person that was the inception, built that offense, and that was an amazing day in and of itself. But certainly for us, that is the one area that I felt like we needed improvement on. For us, we've always been a very good set team, allows us to create mismatch opportunities, bigs that can shoot it, guards that can post it, that kind of thing. So we've been able to do that, and I've always believed in that. I've always done that. But for me, just really being able to define a default offense that we can go to once a set breaks down was something that I thought our program needed, and we spent a lot of time in the off season trying to prepare for. Any other questions? Wow, that's the fastest media day ever.
Suzy, can you just kind of talk about Tori? Obviously, played more at the point down the stretch last year. Just maybe what she kind of worked on last year to maybe prepare to, take on that role full time.
Well, I thought in a lot of ways having Tori and Clarissa both move from that off-guard position to play the point, it did offer more opportunities to score more points. I mean, the kid's a scoring mentality, and I think when you have that at the point guard position, it really does change your offense. What Tori's been able to do, I think, is continue to build that part of her game, the consistency from the outside, but more importantly, be able to put the ball on the floor and add that playmaker piece to her game. She really had a tremendous offseason, and right now is doing a great job when she runs the one and plays the point guard position, and having a commanding presence, has ball security, runs our program and the kids to the left and the right of her extremely well, while at the same time she's aggressive and attacking as a guard and a scoring mentality. So it's exciting. I mean, she really looks good in practice.
Suzy, Tori and Ariel provided quite a spark for you guys last year as freshmen. How do you hope that maybe they continue that this year and maybe grew up a little bit over the summer as well?
Well, I think as a freshman, you don't know what you don't know, and that was good for them. But I think sometimes, once people have keyed on your strengths, that you have to be able to counter that. For Ariel, she's really good off the bounce. She's great in transition. Towards the end of the Big Ten, you saw people try to take some of those things away. With Tori, they played her as a shooter only and forced her to put the ball on the deck a little bit, which is good. Those are the things that in the offseason I think they've learned and been able to carry over as sophomores trying to lead a team in a program.
Suzy, if you covered this, I apologize. I walked in late. But what would be your starting five if you played tonight? Did you cover this?
Didn't cover that.
And will your rotation be 8, 7, 6 without Brandi? What, I'm going to be more than 6,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, it's kind of early to tell. I was going to start Fred Human at the 5, Mick McCabe at the 2. Yeah. You guys are good screen setters, aren't you? It's really hard for me to say. I think right now, certainly you could bank on Ariel, Tori, and Becca. I think Jazz Hines is in that conversation. She's coming off getting healthier and healthier every day, and really practicing extremely well this week. So those 4 kids, I think you could probably, write in the book. And then that 5th one will be a freshman, I suspect, at this point, with Brandi going down, either Lexi or Jazz Lumpkin. Depending on how Jazz Hines is feeling and how she's progressing and what kind of shape she's getting in, we may have to start 2 freshmen early and build her in. It'll probably be 8. Yeah, I mean, I've never really, you look at that, I think most coaches play 7, 8 kids pretty solidly. For me, I've erred on the side of probably riding kids a little longer than I should, quite honestly, but I just think continuity is important, and I think confidence is important, and when you start yanking them and changing combinations, it makes for a very difficult flow for your offense and or defense. So even through tough times, sometimes it's not good to sit kids in unless they really need it. For me, it's a really need it type situation.
Hi, Jalen Walker from Impact Sports. Could you just speak some going towards like conference play with the impact of Maryland being in the conference now, and just like with that raising the bar and like just difference in preparation? Could you just give some comments on that?
Well, I'm not sure that there'll be a difference in preparation necessarily because, I think all the coaches in our league, we prepare for every team, every opponent. But the one thing that Maryland does bring, obviously, is tremendous amount of national recognition and success in the women's game in general. And now you're putting them in the Big Ten. So for us, even adding Rutgers and Vivian Stringer and what she's brought to this, to our game. I mean, she started coaching the game when I was a toddler, quite honestly. And I think a lot of us really respect and look up to her and what she's been able to accomplish everywhere she's been. She's a class person and certainly runs a classy program. I feel that same way about Brenda at Maryland. You're going to get high-powered, well-coached, very aggressive basketball. And I think the Big Ten is a perfect fit for them, and we look forward to the challenge and the opportunities that allow us to challenge ourselves day in and day out on a national level with the two of them.
Hi. With you having to put the freshmen in a little earlier or in their season, since they're just coming in, how are you preparing them and getting them ready in their mindset for that position?
Well, I think as coaches, we really try right now to put them in situations to be successful. But I think the other piece to that is you really got to push the envelope with them. If they're going to play early, they got to know that they're going to be relied on. If there's a high expectation and a standard, they need to meet it. There's certain things that, as coaches defensively or offensively, that we need to make sure that they're accountable for. We do that a variety of ways. Obviously, reps in practice, drill work, film work. I think our assistant coaches have done a great job with that freshman class of bringing them in, studying film individually, as well as they've done a nice job as players of watching their iPads, and we have a nice app that we just added to our iPads that we have here at Michigan State for all of our student athletes in women's basketball, and it's called Player Link. And everything they could possibly imagine is on that to be the best player they can be. So it's a wonderful opportunity. I think they've done a great job of studying the game, working hard in practice, and certainly being pushed by the coaches.
Suzy, I'm assuming maybe Kara Miller might be someone that might factor into your rotation, and you kind of talk about maybe her and what you might expect out of her this year.
Well, Kara, quite honestly, might be my all-time favorite player on this roster, and I don't mean that to be negative to anybody else. I love every kid on this team, but I haven't been around too many kids that work as hard as she does and is genuinely as tough as she is. I mean, she broke her nose in a practice and didn't know till the end of practice, went and had surgery, and the next day was in practice. I mean, she doesn't know how to stop. That can be good, that can be bad, but she has really worked hard. I mean, early in her career, she was a preferred walk-on, and she's someone that we felt like over time with lots of reps and in our system, she could really help us. What Kara's greatest gift is she's incredibly intelligent. I mean, she's a 4.0 accounting student, but she carries that over on the basketball court. She can play 3 different positions for us. Actually, she could probably play 5 if I let her, but point guard and center are really not in her future. So I keep her at the swing and certainly at the 4 as kind of a 4-guard lineup. But her defense and understanding of what we're trying to accomplish defensively is probably her greatest gift. Where she needs to improve a little bit is ball security and making sure she's making good decisions offensively. But I've not been around a harder working, incredibly grateful and appreciative of the opportunity at Michigan State and just stayed in the fight for the last few years and knows her time's coming and believes that it's coming. And so for that, I'm really grateful as a coach because it's a lesson that I've watched happen, and some kids want it now, and that instant gratification sometimes isn't always there as a coach to give a young freshman. Our freshman class will have more opportunity this year than maybe they would have last year. So to watch Kara just stay in the fight and keep pushing forward, I mean, you're going to see her play minutes this year, no question about it.
Who's capable of running the point for you guys?
We have a few kids. Certainly Tori is the one. I mean, she had experience last year and did a really, really nice job for us. Lexi can play some point and has played some point. She's a 6-foot point guard. Probably her greatest attribute is her ability to pass the ball. She needs more reps at it, just like anybody. And then we have Anna Morrissey, who's a walk-on that is a 4th-year senior. And has really always played a different kind of role, but she's improved so much since she's been here. She's a ball security, smart, headsy kid that, certainly I know will, if given the opportunity, will step up. But Tori will probably be the number one, no question about it, at the point guard position.
What's the next step for Ariel in her development?
Multiple positions. We really just locked her in at the 4 last year, to be honest. I think she was a kid that, really performed better over time if she had reps and it was the same position. This year, she's going to have to be able to play multiple positions, 2, 3, and 4. And if she wants to go on and play in the WNBA, which that's her lifelong passion, and then go on and play overseas, she's going to have to be able to play those positions and in some ways maybe play all 3. And that might make her even more marketable for the next level. So she's doing a nice job of that. We've started that from the inception. October 8th when we started practicing, she's been playing multiple positions. It isn't natural yet. She really liked playing that face-up 4 spot. And so now to be able to move her around a little bit without taking away from her game. I think last year, honestly, keeping her at one spot allowed her to just play her game without thinking too much, and that's when she's at her best. So now she might have to slow her down a little bit because she plays multiple positions, but I think over time it's someone that will pick it up quickly and she'll be able to move forward and be effective in any position we put her in.
You talked about the iPads and technology. What kind of impact have you kind of seen, that kind of make on your program?
Well, we've always had, last few years we've had the iPads and we've used different, obviously different facets to get that information to them. But what I like about this player link is they can watch it at any time and that it's interactive. Myself, our assistant coaches can type different things in to watch for them, to point out. They can send things back and forth. So to be able to do that in between a class, if they have an hour break, and study the game without always having to get over here to Breslin and sit in front of a film screen with the coach every time, I think is something that has transformed our program this year already. I think it's been very impactful in the last couple years. Our kids watching their minutes and defensive concepts that we believe in and being able to pull it up on their phone or their iPads right away certainly has really helped our program.